Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our inaugural episode of Act 4. This is going to be a new coast to coast Liminal Mind Productions. It's going to be a series that myself and Anthony are going to be doing where we're going to be reviewing movies that are coming out, as well as if there's a movie that's coming out to a big franchise, we will also be talking about the entirety of the franchise and how that movie does affect the franchise, and then eventually doing rankings with that movie installed or with that movie installment. It's going to be a big passion project for the two of us. We've both been putting in a lot of effort to watch a lot of movies. I know I've just saw my 16th movie on the year. How many have you seen this year, Anthony?
I don't know off the top of my head, but I believe I'm maybe at the 20 range at this point, and it'll go up again this weekend probably with the slate of films uh, to release.
Yeah, we got a big weekend coming up with Drop and The Amateur. And I know you wanted to see
Warfare, yeah,
that with Warfare.
yeah,
That's what it's called. Yeah. So we're gonna be pumping out plenty of movie reviews. Figured this would be a better means of doing this. That way, you guys can come in and watch exactly what you're looking for, just based on the topic at hand. And today, for our inaugural episode, we picked the best movie on the year so far. I don't think anyone has a single negative review on it. We're gonna be discussing, as the title says, the
that's
Minecraft
right,
movie.
that's right. Absolutely generational type of stuff here. Uh, yeah, I mean, just basic first thoughts. Obviously, we're not the exactly the intended audience. You and I both really enjoy Minecraft, and we played it obviously a lot throughout our lives, basically. But I mean, this is for the post brain rot, post COVID TikTok generation of children that are getting into Minecraft now and watching viral memes and whatnot on their smartphones and stuff. So it was a very interesting experience overall, I must say. And the memes that have sprouted out about this film have really like piqued my interest, I will say, which is funny enough. My morbid curiosity, if you will, about the film. So I was
Mhm.
like, look, it'll probably be really awful, but we got to give this a shot. And we did.
It was pretty
Yeah,
awful.
look, it's a very, very bad movie, but it is also very entertaining, at least for me. Uh, I was
Yeah.
pretty much laughing through a lot of it, and now not a lot of the time it's very intelligent or smart humor. It's very low hanging fruit type of stuff. Again, stuff for babies, basically. But there are a couple of like more adult-ish themes and whatnot that maybe the adults will find funny if you turn your
Yeah.
brain off, I guess. Uh, and really, it a lot of it too is the ironic humor involved in the whole thing, the whole social media zeitgeist that has occurred with this film, this whole bubble. And that was again a major reason for me to
Mhm.
even see it in the first place, besides taking my 8-year-old brother to go see it. Yeah, and the theater experience was very much as advertised, based on other people's reports early on, and
Yeah.
Instagram reels or YouTube shorts that I watched of just people going absolutely berserk over
Mhm.
Jack Black one-liners. Really rowdy, but a lot of fun at the same time, though. Too, it's actually a nice thing to see it when young kids are getting excited about a movie, even if the movie sucks. But yeah, I'll throw it back to you for a
Right.
minute.
Yeah. So, like he said, the whole movie theater was loving the movie, surprisingly, because well, let's all be honest, it's not it's a really bad movie, but the whole theater loved it. It was my first time experiencing a round of applause at the end of the film. Everybody was clapping except for myself, I guess. I'm the stickler asshole. Even though I enjoyed it, I wasn't going to clap for that
Right.
film. Um, and actually, it's funny that you mentioned the Jack Black one-liners because like nobody yelled chicken jockey in
Really?
my theater, but my yeah, I hadn't even seen the clip until I actually
Oh
saw the
wow.
movie. But before the night before, I was hanging out with some buddies, and they kept saying chicken jockey. And so as soon as I saw the chicken jockey on the screen, I knew that Jack Black was about to say it. And so I leaned over to my girlfriend as soon as I saw the chicken jockey. And I leaned over. I was like, "Chicken jockey," and she looked over at me and she was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And then he said it, and then she just started
Nice. Yeah.
laughing. It was. it was a good time. But aside from the Jack Black one-liners, we did have this like adorable, must have been like a 4-year-old, 5-year-old or something. Because the scene where Jason Momoa like forces them to go into the Redstone Cave because he needs diamonds to save his failing
Hmm.
business, and they have to get into the cart, and they go and they get trapped in a room full of creepers. And as soon as it like pans around and you see all the creepers, this 4-year-old was like, "Watch out, there's a creeper!" It was so funny because he yelled it so loud, and you could tell that he was like genuinely scared for them, and it was just
Mm.
adorable. But outside of that, the ending pretty rough. Uh, I'm not a huge fan of the like gas being like Armada balloons. What are your thoughts on
Well,
that?
it's
Thought it
kind
was
of
pretty
funny
stupid.
because that is a little bit of what the next Minecraft update's going to be. I don't know how much you've been keeping up with the Minecraft news and whatever, but the new
Oh
summer
no.
update is going to include. They had recently just announced it and revealed it at the Minecraft Live event that they do twice a year now. Uh, what's going to happen now
Mhm.
is you can go into the nether, you can find a dried gas, it's a little mineable block, and you can take it to the overworld,
Mm.
and if you hydrate it with water over several days or whatever, it will turn into a happy gas. Well, first it turns into a little gasling, and then it'll grow up into a happy gas, and this happy gas you can put like a pilot's cap on it, and you could fly around sitting on top of it like Appa in Avatar: The Last Airbender. So in a way, it kind of foreshadowed like what was going to be in the future of Minecraft, which is really interesting as well. Uh,
I that is kind of cool. I don't hate that as much. That's a cool
mhm.
idea.
Yeah,
That's that's gonna be a huge. Can you like shoot fireballs
I'm
with it?
not
Do you
sure
know?
about shooting fireballs. I do know that at least as far as everything that they've announced for it or shown showcased, you can ride with multiple players, up to 4 players on one happy gas at a time, and because it flies and whatnot, you can actually dismount it and stand on top of it. So a lot of people are probably going to be using that for building as well, which is really cool, I think.
That's
Finally, an
awesome.
interesting, unique feature
Yeah, it's a
that's
cool
being
update.
added to this game, right? Uh,
Yeah, instead of just like another exotic animal that does
right.
nothing, like a llama or a
Yeah, yeah,
panda. Like
exactly. But
I know I know the kids really needed pandas and bamboo.
I look, I'm a fan, but yeah, when that's the only thing in an update, it's certainly underwhelming. But yeah, funny, about the chicken
Right.
jockey thing and stuff like that because I did shout it out when it happened. My little brother wanted to do that, and we weren't the only ones in the theater either, so it wasn't that big of a deal, I suppose. And so we did shout chicken jockey at that moment, and that was a lot of fun. And I again the applause throughout pretty much the whole movie, and with every line
Mhm.
that everybody has, most people have seen if you've been on TikTok or whatever a lot recently, you've seen these lines and you've seen them sped up and slowed down in that stupid format that has only been for this movie. I don't know where that format came from, but here we are now. It exists. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I am Steve. That got a huge ovation. Flint and Steel got a few claps.
It's a steal.
And then yeah, obviously the big one, Chicken Jockey. People were roaring, up up in the theater. Yeah.
It's just so funny to me. I do I was a little bit surprised by this movie in the vulgarity of some of the languages or some of the language used, because I knew it was PG, so I didn't expect like hell. I can get a pass because it's like the Nether is objectively hell, like that's fine. But Jason Momoa saying ass kind of took me
There are a couple of
aback,
craps too.
and
Yeah.
right.
It
And it was one of those things where it's just like I don't
right.
care really. I don't think a kid is gonna care too much because they weren't like the crazy one-liners, but there was some pretty choice stuff used in this movie, like Jason Momoa and Jack Black 69ing while flying in an elytra was pretty
Yeah, yeah.
hilarious.
And that's like the whole core of the film really is that there's just so many like insane crazy moments that feel like straight out of a fever dream really. and by the end of it, at least I was like so overwhelmed by like how much we did. But ironically, once you actually get down to the meat and bones of the film, uh,
The story is so
it's so
basic.
bland and basic. And despite how much we did, we actually covered very little about Minecraft, about the world, about these characters. You know what I mean? The only two that really get a lot of fleshing out in their characters are Steve and Garrett the Garbage Man Garrison, and they try to do other things with the other characters, but it was very half baked. Obviously, they didn't have enough runtime, whatever the excuse is. And again, yeah, very basic stuff. It really does glance over a lot of things, and some things that I was actually surprised that they omitted, despite the fact that they did throw in Easter eggs here and there. Like, there was a scene where they did show a golden apple on screen. It wasn't mentioned or referenced, but it was there, or a totem of undying is another example. So there are little Easter eggs here and there, but it just felt like they could have done more to make the world feel alive than what they did. And maybe that's something that, because this movie's going to print money. It already has printed money. It's going to break $1 billion. I have no doubt about that at this point. And so maybe that's something that they'll expand upon in a
Right.
sequel or whatever, however they approach a sequel anyway. Are we going to follow Alex now? Like, I have no idea.
A Minecraft movie 2.
Yeah, the search for more money because we know it'll make some.
Yeah, you get is we heard you guys liked Chicken Jockey. What about Cow Jockey?
Spider jockey. That's the next one.
Just
We had a lot of spider
yeah.
jockeys actually. That was an interesting, and I guess that will bring us to my next point here about the film, and actually something that I thought they did pretty well, with the exception of the moments where it's very obviously a character running in place in front of a green screen, and they just overlaid it and it looks ugly and whatever. When it's actually completely
Mhm.
animated, it actually doesn't look bad. It looks pretty good, and they actually did a nice job of giving the feel of Minecraft in those moments. Again, not enough of that, and they
Mhm.
did shy away from it when actual physical characters are involved in the thing, and that's unfortunate. But there were moments of strength in this. I think the creature designs were pretty cool. The skeletons and the zombies and everything, they look pretty menacing, and that was nice. Yeah, so I guess that's the one positive you're gonna you're gonna get from me from this movie, outside of me enjoying the stupid fun.
Right. I did mention this actually in my review as well on the Discord. I agreed the world was really well like designed. The I think the worst because there's a lot of really bad looking scenes, but I think the absolute worst looking scene is the Elytra
It,
scene.
yeah,
It was so ugly.
it
It was
looks
so
really bad.
bad.
Yeah,
And they had like they could have made it a way like there was pretty simple ways to make it look good. I feel like if you have experience in I feel like if you have experience in like filmmaking, that shouldn't be too hard to make it look great. But it just looked so low effort.
right. Definitely. Yeah. Again, the characters interacting with this animated environment is easily the weakest part of the immersion, which is really unfortunate because you think about like alternate realities where this movie is probably 100% animated and the characters are actually like when maybe they're again they're real in the live action real world, but when they enter the Minecraft world they turn into block versions of themselves, and there must be a reality where that exists, and the whole thing just feels a lot better. You get a fully animated film where they can really make every sequence look as good as the sequences without the characters do.
We were talking about a waitress, right?
Yeah, sure. I,
Sorry.
it's
My
tough
bad.
to really point out one specific detail in this film because so much happens, but very little of substance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I want to say that I enjoyed the film overall, but if I'm being honest, the only like points where I really did enjoy it, like I really thought the fucking it's a sphere thing. There's like the most sphere looking cube. I thought that was really funny. But if I'm trying to like just outline, okay, this is what I enjoyed about the film. It's just yeah, it sucked, and I liked that it sucked.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. In a way, it's weird the earnestness that they were able to pull off, and maybe that's just like the Jack Black charm that he just brings to his roles. And he's not particularly good here. He's just Jack Black, right? But I don't know. He's just a fun, it's just a
Right.
fun person and a fun presence to have on screen. And so maybe that's part of it. And part of it also is this quirky, odd sense of humor that Jared Hess, the director, has, who's in the past directed stuff like Napoleon Dynamite or Nacho Libre, which also features Jack Black. Um, there again, there are things that do work in this film, and so therefore it's not the worst film ever made or the worst film of the year, as even I maybe have predicted at some point in time. But it's obviously
Nothing can beat Love
not
Hurts.
not yet, not yet. That's for sure. But yeah, so not the worst ever, and very much exceeded my expectations, but still not a good movie, and frankly, not really a movie at all. Like there again, very little of substance actually happens. Even as like a storytelling
Right.
thing, for most of the movie, they have half of the MacGuffin item the whole time, and so it feels like a little bit like the stakes aren't quite there anyway. Again, like it's a kids movie, and I get that, and maybe we get heat for why are you guys judging the kids movies? Well, because kids movies deserve should be good too. Like kids deserve good movies as well. Just because they're kids, that doesn't mean you
Yeah, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish was one of the best movies of
sure, yeah.
2023. Like, it's
And
up
there
there.
are
It's an
many
amazing movie.
examples, especially even especially when you go further back in time, of course. But there are many, 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 many examples of
Mhm,
legitimately good children's films, and oftentimes they work well for adults too. And this one, I just don't see a staying power afterwards. Again, like the people who enjoy this film are the people who are into the memes, are into Minecraft a lot, that are children. And so it's going to work for them. But
mhm.
I don't know if, this is definitely not one that I would revisit voluntarily. Um, and yeah, that's just, I think that's kind of going to be the thing. It's going to feel like that lightning in a bottle, flash in the pan moment of time where it's very unique to
Mhm.
this moment. And maybe it just fizzles away afterwards.
I I'm trying to think because there's a whole topic on video games that become film and they have their own like adaptations. And when you take one of the top 3 most popular video games of all time and you make a movie out of it, it's kind of impossible
Right.
for it to fail. But I was gonna say, because it got me thinking, do you think that GTA 5 as a movie would be successful? Because I think there's material there.
I don't know. The problem with a movie, or the problem with a movie based on a game like that, is that you do feel like you're already watching a film at certain parts in GTA. Obviously, GTA has a lot of gameplay, and it's not one of those games where you're just doing a movie and some interaction. There's a lot of interaction in some movie.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not Until Dawn.
yeah, or a plethora of other examples, but it is very straightforward as well, and so I'm not sure if an exact adaptation of that would work, but I think an adaptation in that universe would certainly work. As a matter of fact, um, not necessarily related, but someone had made a film in GTA 5. They had done a version of Hamlet in that video game. And apparently it's actually pretty good. Yeah,
That's hilarious. I'll have to
yeah,
check that out.
really, really interesting. And
Mm,
again, like that's one of the core tenets of film, right? Like even if you're making garbage, like anybody can do this thing. You could just go and make a movie tomorrow. And it's
mhm,
very important, I think, as big time filmmakers, that you use your budget to make something good, and that's obviously not always going to be the case. And studio power is at its peak right now, I would argue, and streaming power is certainly at its peak right now, and no really foreseeable pendulum swing back the other direction. But you know if you went out to see the Minecraft movie, great, whatever. But you should go out and see stuff like that's coming out this weekend, like The Amateur, like Drop, like Warfare, or in 2 weeks, like Sinners, like real films. You know what I mean? Like that are interesting, that are
right.
creative, that are unique, that have something new to offer to the medium.
Mhm. And for the people who are always critical of films and they say there's nothing unique, and me and Anthony have said this on the podcast as well, but go see Death of a Unicorn. If you think the horror is a bland genre that has nothing unique, that's a great movie. The lore, the unicorns,
Yeah,
it's great. It's amazing. It's a
yeah,
fun movie. There's nothing to complain about in
right.
that film. And it's really unique, but people are gonna ignore it and not watch it because they didn't see any advertising on it and they didn't care enough to go look at their movie theater. Like, if you go watch a single movie, you know what you're gonna get out of it? 6 more recommendations for other movies that you
Yeah,
can go
yeah,
watch because those previews give you good insight. So I always implore, not always, but now that I've like gotten back into film, like watching and studying it a bit, I'm gonna continue to implore people to go watch movies just because you're gonna learn a lot and you're gonna have a lot of
yeah.
fun while
And
doing it.
everybody's got their niche, right? You know, you're more of a horror buff, and I like horror too, but I would definitely say I'm a sci-fi adventure drama kind of guy. And
I think you're more sci-fi
maybe,
thriller.
yeah, maybe that's better. But point being, like everyone's got their niche, and it's all about finding it. You know, there's no discovery without an exploration of that thing. And the best way to explore it is to do it. So if you have time over the weekend, if you have a few extra bucks and you just go to a movie, go alone if you don't have anyone to go with. Sometimes the most cathartic experience is to sit by yourself in a movie theater. Maybe it's empty, maybe there are other people,
It's a good
but
time.
it's a lot of fun, really. And yeah, like, you know, help your local cinema out. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that said, at the same time, I know we're shitting on the Minecraft movie a lot and whatnot here, but it is good.
It's a
It is
fun watch.
good that it's making money too. Like something needed to give in 2025 with all these movies flopping, nobody's showing up, and blah blah blah. One of them finally broke through and broke the seal, and hopefully, you know, through those trailers, like you said, um, people are gonna show up to more. And again, it's a big summer coming up, and you know we'll be reviewing as many as we want or as we can during that summer as well. But yeah, there's a lot of movies every week that come out in your local theater.
Mhm. Yeah, so closing thoughts on Minecraft movie. It's a fun watch. Go watch it with a kid. You'll probably enjoy it more just by seeing their enjoyment of the movie. Watch it while it's in theaters because you're not going to be able to pay attention to it if you watch it at home because it's not attention getting.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, go have fun in the theater. You're not don't go in there expecting a critical thought process in the
right,
filmmaking. It's not going to be one that you think
right,
about.
right. And my final thoughts. It really does feel like a fever dream. A lot of it, and not in the most astounding way necessarily. A lot of it just makes absolutely no sense, and a lot of it uh, is just like what the fuck, like what the fuck are we doing? And it's super super fascinating in that way. It's super fascinating that a movie like this exists. It's super fascinating that it exists in the way that it does. And yeah, like I had fun with it as well. And you know, part of it was the theater experience, which I think is very underrated in today's day and age in general. And so that certainly
Mhm.
aided in that. If I went and rewatched it in an empty theater or on streaming, I certainly would not. I might not be able to finish it. Let's be honest. And so I think the theater experience.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
be able to
and
get
so I
it
think the
through
theater
it.
experience is bumping up my rating a little bit on this one, but I would give it a 2 stars out of 5. There are a couple of legitimately good things, like I said, but they're very few and far in between. And it just doesn't feel. It's not a fulfilling experience at all for people like us.
Yeah, I'm also gonna give it a 2 stars out of 5. It's just it's not a good movie, and I know Anthony takes a little bit more critical like movie making base into his rankings. I rank my movies based on my pure enjoyment. That's why movies like Leprechaun get 5 stars when they're really a 1 star movie. So it's just a 2 star. It's nothing overly enjoyable. It's nothing that I'm going to think about or rave about. 5 years down the line, I'm going to be like, oh shit, I remember that time that Jason Momoa 69 with Jack Black on the Minecraft movie, and that's going to be it. I'm not going to revisit this movie. I revisit Ratatouille. It's not like kids' movies can't be revisitable. It's just this one isn't one
Right.
of those.
All right.
But you want to close this
Sure.
out here?
Well, that is our review of a Minecraft movie. Let us know your thoughts if you have any, if you have watched it, of course. And if you haven't yet, go check it out if you want, if it sounds like something you'd be interested in. Or don't, save your money and go watch something better, right? But yeah, thank
Right.
you guys very much for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next installment of Act 4.